Cheers, baby. Woo!
You know,
Uh-oh.
I had a time of my life last night, and I just couldn't figure out at what point I realized that I was having the time of my life. And then it dawned on me. It was when I first laid eyes on you. Before I gave you my number, before you ever approached me, I knew it was you.
Boy, I know you know.
That's why I stood by the bridge so long. Cause I knew you wanted me to.
Fairy tales don't come true for people like me and you. And I know you're feeling me from the first time. You love me right and I can't deny. Boy, I don't wanna lose your love. I'm telling the truth out the gate, boy. You know I'm thankful for what we have. Cause I found love at first sight. Then you walked in my life.
Closer than we ever been. Shit, we ain't never been friends. Fell in love on the first night. I believe in love at first sight. I've been praying hard all my life. I've been wishing on a star all my might. And for the first time in my life, everything is alright. So we gon' take it up to a new height. And we ain't giving up, boy, we gon' fight. We ain't gon' stop till we get it right. Boy, you already know you the love of my life.
Get closer to you, baby. Get closer than just friends. Boy, I know you know. Get closer to you, baby. You already know. Get closer than just friends. Boy, I know you know. Fairy tales don't come true for people like me and you. And I know you're feeling me from the first time. You love me right and I can't deny. Boy, I don't wanna lose your love. I'm telling the truth out the gate, boy. You know I'm thankful for what we have.
Right.
Love at first sight, then you walk in my life. Closer to you, baby. You already know. Get closer than just friends. Boy, I know you know. Get closer to you, baby. You already know. Get closer than just friends. Boy, I know you know.
We in the groove, baby. Can you feel it? I do. So if you down, let's dance forever.
Come on. Let's groove. Hey. And a cheery, oh, to that jam by none other than Ta-ta and Ta-ta, the Clark sisters.
Yes.
And on the solo, those vocals, that was Sister Chris. And on
I'm gonna do that high next time.
On them rhymes and lines, it was Sister Lynn.
Yes.
And we're gonna give it up. Toast one more time for the production team.
Yes.
Black Monopoly,
That's Black
Clark
Monopoly,
Studios.
Clark Studios. Jay Clark. Yes, sir.
You had
DJ
tapped,
Sway on them. Yeah.
tuned,
Yeah.
turned on.
Okay.
The up and coming hottest, dopest show
You
on the globe.
already know.
And it's called
Sister Sunday.
But we like to sing it in homage to the
She
sister.
wants to sing it.
I like to.
She's
I mean,
gonna
she's
sing
a
it in
singer.
there.
Yeah,
I know that,
let's
but
do
we
this.
haven't got it
It's
all
okay,
together.
But we are
I would rather you
organically-
do it,
okay.
and then I'll be your background.
There you
Because
go.
it's singing in the background.
Boom. Well, there it is. Okay, so hello, Globe. Welcome to Sister Sunday. Sister. Yeah, we glad you came our way. 'Cause you, my sister. Yeah, and I'm happy today that you, my sister, tuned in on this
Sunday.
And that's it.
All right. Well, look, we got followed it last week.
We
just
just
make it up every
Sunday,
week. Okay.
and
Well,
we
we'll
a
freestyle
singing
it.
group.
Eventually,
Yeah.
we'll have it done live, and
There
then we'll
it is.
just record it down, or we'll
Knock
just
it out.
record it.
I think it should just flow organically as it comes up in our introduction. We know when we hear that.
What y'all think? What y'all
When
think?
you hear that, it's time for.
Oh, I'm like, what are you about to say? You know what's backwards. Anyway, let's jump into it.
Today's show is.
We're talking about the father's role in the house, the home, and how it plays into a young girl in her dating life.
Yes, father's role in the house and how it plays into her dating life.
And so last week we talked about the father's role.
Yes.
And a lot of interesting thing came up.
Yes.
Because Lynn and I realized the things that we were alike a lot about, and certain
Correct.
things that we had. Like, I didn't know Lynn was really as bougie as she is.
And you know, I didn't know either. Let's just be honest. I ain't know what I thought I was. or
Well,
what she
no,
thought I
I'm talking
was.
about just like tradition stuff that you grew up around. Like you said, we had pantyhose stockings and slips.
And you
I
know,
mean, you get what I'm saying?
yes.
So she said that a matter of factly, and I never had, not that I didn't know you're supposed to wear it, but that was like not a matter of fact thing
absolutely.
spoken to me.
Yeah, I was
You
grown
get what I'm
before I
saying?
ever saw my mom not go to church in pants or hose. I was gone to college. Yeah.
Well, I didn't go to church growing up, so maybe that has a big deal to do with what I didn't see. You know, my mother, of course, she worked, so she dressed professionally. But, however, I didn't have this conversation. But what's so crazy about that, I wore dresses and skirts from like 4th grade to 8th grade. So I was Israelite. I didn't wear pants. Well, by 8th grade, I was wearing my friends' clothes. But what I'm saying is that I didn't have that. So I still would think that would kind of be a conversation that was said to me. Now, I don't know if somebody gave me a slip, but there wasn't no, you better wear a slip.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
definitely don't wear stockings.
Yeah, absolutely necessary. When we came out of them little click-clock white shoes with the white socks, it was right into the white tights and then out of the tights into the hose. It didn't matter what you had on. Even if you had on pants, we had to have on hose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so from that conversation, we realized that the way Lynn maneuvered was different than I, because she had a father. So she had an extra person in the home to expect her to be home, to be curious about her whereabouts,
Yeah.
and to fear. Where I didn't have that per se. I had one mother, I had one parent in the home, and she worked all the time. So she was a working mother, so she wasn't home. So we're going to discuss today what difference that played in our life when it comes to dating.
Let me add to that, while we were pre-show discussing about the fears and the presence that a father can bring to a household and the impression that it can leave on a daughter when she's dating, not only did I have my personal fear of my dad, but I also remember guys teasing me, like, I'm not coming to your house because your daddy might answer the door. I'm not walking you to your car. Your daddy might have came to pick you up from practice. I'm not going to even walk you to the park. You know what I'm saying? Just so it not only was his presence felt in the home, my point being that his presence as a man was felt in the community, at our church, and on my school campus. So it wasn't just at the house, you know. His influence went all out. Dudes was like, yo, yeah, I took a shot at trying to take a shot at you because I'm like, I don't know about how I could rock with your parents.
And see, I didn't have that as even
all
a
the
consideration. First of all, like I said, my mother wasn't home, and then it was just a mother, so nobody cared about really how she viewed anything. And then because I lived in buildings, it was so many of us. I mean, unless I guess you are a woman that was really doing great big things in your community, I don't even know what she would have did to like stand out, even though I did have a lot of friends that was at my house. So I was joking with Lynn because I was telling her about how I would sneak people over to my house. I would mess with guys. Like, we was doing it in the house while my mama was at work.
Never at my house. It was understood in the community, at school, and neighborhood. We're not going to Lynn's. They don't play that over there. Her parents could come home. Not happening. I'm not getting caught up. They're not going to bring me to my parents' house and tell my parents what I'll be up to. That was just, no. I risked my own life and the life of anybody that snuck into my house, and they knew that. And we like pinkied into the situation, like, you're going to have to crawl out the window. You're going to die before I get into trouble behind this shit. You do know that, right? Like, that's a
But
wrap.
you know what? Let me
You're
tell
going
you.
under the bus before I get fucked up.
And that's why you got to have a father in the home, because fathers need to tell that to these boys. Javon always make it clear to the boys, first of all, don't even go over there. If you need to know they need to know your intentions. You need to know theirs before you even get there, because you don't have no time for nobody to say you raped them.
Right.
But if you got a daddy you really scared of, let me ask you this, on camera. If he would have caught you with a dude in the house, would you have lied on that dude like you don't know how he got in?
Oh, I don't think so. How could I do that?
I mean, people
lie.
lie. People lie. You hear that when parents catch boys at their kid house and the door like, I raped them. They raped. I mean, I done seen video. I mean, he tried to rape me. You know, like she didn't know. Then I kind of remember where a father shot a boy or something like that because of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was full wheel. Mutually consenting. I don't know that crossed my mind. When I say they was going under the bus so they would die, you know, we exaggerate. That's like, we in this together, and most, if anything, we're going to get in trouble together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got into it. We're going to do everything we can to make, you do understand, I'm going to need you to help me do everything we can so that I don't get in trouble. Because mostly, I probably was dealing with people who their parents didn't mind. You know, it was okay. Because I couldn't go to other people's houses.
But see, it seemed like that's a weird question, but don't we have grown women that blame men for rape now that didn't happen? Mike Tyson, Tupac. I mean, those the two off the top of my dome. And we know they don't have to pay, they don't have to rape nobody. Who wouldn't give them some pussy right up front? You get what I'm saying? So just the fact that I'm like, I ain't got to raise my hand. You already know.
Ain't nobody raped me.
You already know.
Because
I
wanted to be.
You had the opportunity at first sight.
Yes.
Right? So if a grown woman is like that, I wouldn't be surprised that a young girl would lie when she thinks she about to get her ass tore to pieces over a boy. Yeah. If you got a daddy.
I'm most definitely sure that was going to be some finagling going on.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely. Like, how did y'all get in here or whatever. Yeah, of course, that truth was not going to come off the top. I don't know about accusing the boy, you know, of rape, but just... Yeah, I had to lie all the time.
That's
so
what I'm trying to say.
The situation was a lie. Like, who is he, where he came from, that was going to all be a lie.
So that's what I'm saying. So in knowing that, I'm like, well, the next thing that we thought about from fatherhood was also single motherness, working mothers, absent parents, because the reason why Lynn and I both together could easily try to maneuver is because our parents worked. Exactly. She had a 2-parent home, they worked. I had a single mother home, and she worked. And so I had free time on my hands.
My parents worked out of town, both of them, and I was still deathly scared of getting caught or anyone knowing that I was up to no good when they was not home.
Wow. Is anybody saying anything that they wanted to add? While we still talking about fatherness?
Young boys I got caught with, I was so scared to lie. Take it for the team. LaTanya.
Okay.
Yeah, you damn right. You take it for the team. You like, we both in this together. So that's how it's going.
Okay, so
I remember also just earlier when we was talking about how having a dad and his influence and the kids being scared, other kids, like that was just a problem for me in the community. Like, yo, real shit, people will be like, I know your parents, you know, like,
So-
you gonna let my parents, you know, I ain't scared of them. Why you can't be scared? Don't be scared of them too, you know?
So what was your age, the age that you limit, what was the age that you was allowed to date? Because we also was discussing the difference on when you could date based on if you had a father in the home or not.
I wasn't able to really talk to boys for real, like to their knowledge, 16. Like for them to even just hear a conversation about me and a boy, at least 16.
So I had the same thing. I couldn't speak on the phone to any boy or go anywhere with them before 16, but I still couldn't have a boyfriend until 18. But what's so funny about that is
Yep.
I was already being bought items from boys by 13
Oh yeah, I was
coming in
doing
the
a
house.
lot.
That's what the difference with a daddy. Because if no man would have let me come in with no starter coat and no bamboo earrings.
That definitely didn't happen. I had to hide everything and anything that I didn't hide. I got bold enough to try to tell my parents I wanted to spend some money. Got a birthday card, $50. The dude was coming to take me out. I think he might have gave me the card right then. Because I'm like, wow, you know, would my daddy know about my $50? But anyway, I had to give it back.
Yeah, just
Right
can you
there on the
expound on that a
spot.
little bit? Like,
Yeah.
like, what do you think have your father say anything specific to you before, or what would he have said? Like, how would he have said it? Would he have taken you to the boy's house, called the boy over to come get his stuff? Like, what extremes?
Yeah,
you
I
think?
mean, because I remember the guy coming to get me and to take me out. And I remember, of course, having the card and the $50. What I don't remember is how my dad knew about it. But I remember my dad standing there with me, making me give it back. And my dad saying, she don't need no money from nobody else. I take care of everything that goes on here. Now, you can take her out and you take care of that out there. But nothing coming in. I let her go out, but don't no shit come in. I don't let, you know, outside forces, influences come in. And that's what they would always say. It wasn't about you, it was about what you would run into out there. I can't control what's happening out there. So they had their house and anything coming in and out of it on lockdown.
Now, when I say about me getting, it's about 3 items specifically. It wasn't like somebody was taking me shopping and I was coming home with bags. But however, I did have a starter coat, right, from one guy. And then I was cutting school with another boy. And the boy's brother, who bought me the starter coat, knew I was home. He came to my house, took his brother's starter coat back, had a little tussle with the boy I'm cheating with. This is when you know community was changing, and it happened before now, because I had neighbors on both sides.
That's
They
all I
didn't
was getting
tell.
to remind me to add that.
Yeah.
My neighbor's story.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
that's right, because we could
Coming
talk
after
about
that,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so my mother get home, it's winter time. I don't got no winter coat. Well, first of all, I come in there, when I come in the house with the winter coat, she said, you better not be having sex for these things. Oh, no, sure I'm not. I'm not. A daddy
Absolutely
wouldn't have went for that, though.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But now she got to she got to buy me a winter coat that she don't think I need. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you're a single parent, you've already budgeted it in
that,
or
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And once I got it,
It's secured.
it's secure right
Yeah.
now. We walk to school.
Yeah,
I need a coat.
yeah.
I'm in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
I'm in the 9th grade. So we got a generation now of parents, our age group, that say kids can date when they ready.
Oh,
But a lot of us are single mamas. And I know for sure that no man in a household with a young girl would tell her she should date before 18, knowing how men are.
at all.
So when we keep saying we do not need a man to parent these kids, this is ridiculous. I don't understand how you can be like, oh,
Strong, independent, I
but
got
not
this.
even that. Like, y'all talk about conception. You know what I'm saying? I had the baby. You can't have a baby without a mama. You can't have a baby without a daddy and sperm, and then you can't raise that baby without a daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, go back to talking about
Neighbor
the neighbors. Yeah.
My parental influence. My parents worked out of town. They worked varying shifts, so one would leave early and one would come home late. But in between, not sure how that was working out.
But still, that daddy coming home, they was able to flip the schedule, so you still won't all the way alone.
Right, absolutely. Because
Okay.
it would rotate, kind of be in and out, which one was doing what. But anyway, so
Okay.
so how I was set up, my parents enlisted neighbors throughout our community to help them keep watch on me. And so there were times I was in the car with a boy, neighbor come knock on the window,
Wow.
get your ass upstairs, because they knew the cars. I knew what time it was. I know your folks ain't home. Boy knocking on the door at the house. Neighbor come out the house, get from around that door, because I know her parents ain't home and she ain't supposed to have no boys at the house. That happened a lot. I'm somewhere at the park and I run into a neighbor and they like, you're not supposed to be up on these boys. These boys is too old. Get to the house.
Yes, we have a question from the floor.
As I sit here, I'm thinking about two things,
Okay.
and I really want y'all to make sure you tap on these things.
Okay.
Having a father makes you live in a better neighborhood. So that
Definitely.
neighbor aspect, where you live at and where you grow up at, having a father. Number two, please discuss not having a boyfriend. Because me, as I listen, Lynn didn't have a boyfriend until her first baby daddy. Because her father wouldn't let her be serious about boys.
Yeah.
That's right.
Chris got her heart broke all through school. So we definitely need to touch on how that makes women view men. If you got broke up with kindergarten through 12th grade, and then your first boyfriend, you have an abortion, and then you have another abortion, and then you get pregnant, that's going to view how you view men. So a lot of our young sisters in their 20s have a bad perception of men based on high school relationships. Make sure y'all touch
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to think of it. Yeah, because that was the biggest. That was the biggest thing about even why we were talking about the fatherlessness. Because you have a lot of women that's walking around bitter, mad, because they're saying all men ain't shit. But when you ask them to recap their life, they take you back to high school. Even now, I don't say men are not shit, but my heart been trampled all the fuck over since Josh in the 7th grade. I was a stalker little girl.
Not even now.
I'm trying to tell you. So yeah, so I had, even though I'd had a mama that told me not to, I had boyfriends, I had heartache. You had a daddy that loved you. That was enough in your life where you didn't need to seek guys the way I was seeking them. So you discuss how that felt or didn't feel.
Yeah, it felt horrible at the time because I'm just a kid and I want to chase out the boys and play with them innocently, and then you get turned on and you just want to be up under them. So the whole time I'm just miserable. Like, what the hell? There's a whole species and creature of people out here that's way more attractive and fun than these girls, and I can't kick it with them. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't understand. I hated it. It kept us at odds with me, my mom, and my dad, because I'm like, you a woman, I like these boys, and you ain't never going to bat for me to try to cut me no slack. We can't have no play dates. You know what I'm saying? You can't sneak me out. What? How y'all gonna tag team? Like, you a woman, I'm gonna want to kick it and hang out with some boys. You can't go to bat for me at all. Like, really? I'm gonna have to just be stuck in the house, no phone, no visitors. I can't go spend the night with girls whose moms are single. I can't go spend the night with girls who got older brothers. I can't go spend the night with girls who got sisters with babies. That shit was hands down a absolute. I couldn't watch Disney, them channels or cartoons where kids was babysitting, babysitter clubs like that show people
dolls?
my age. I did have dolls. I did have dolls. Strange enough, whatever we'll decide that's about. I'm just playing. You know, and that came from
But
my
it's
mama.
still,
That
that's
came
your
from my mama.
dog.
This
It's your
boy
baby.
stuff is coming from my dad, which is true. I didn't have baby dolls.
What are
They were grown dolls. I never had baby. That Rockabye baby, I did not have Cabbage Patch Kids. No, ma'am. No, because that was a baby to be nursed. I did not have none of those. I had the hairdressing dolls, and I had full body Barbies or caricatures like Strawberry Shortcake who weren't, I didn't have baby dolls. I never got that shit.
So, I'm hearing you saying having a daddy kind of kept that pussy in the
All
box.
that shit at bay until, oh, what? Incredibly. Totally to
Why don't we see the value in that? Why don't we see the value in that? Having a daddy kept that pussy on lock.
Yeah. To the degree that, like I said, the neighbors influence, I mean, just even guys was like, certain guys just wouldn't even approach me knowing that they would have to present themselves at some point in time to my parents, to my dad. Yeah, that
So
shit was
having
crazy.
a father, so basically having a single mother, she ain't even concerned about is where you going a two-parent household, because she a single mother. She ain't concerned about is where you going, are there older brothers, are there children with babies. She ain't concerned about it. She can't even think to be concerned about these things, because she just want a damn break away from her child, because she's a single mother.
So, like, say for example, I think parents looked at certain things a different way. Anyway, you had to ask who was gonna. They wanted to know who was gonna be over. They was gonna call them and speak to them. However, if you're a parent that's not home and your boyfriend don't live at your house, you're not home.
Yeah.
So wherever your kid want to go, especially in a place like New York, I could get on a train and go 2 hours and get back by 6 o'clock.
My parents was, I'm taking you and I'm picking you up.
You get what I'm, so even in the
If you get
structure that she thought she was giving me, like as I got older, I would tell her, like, you know, might have a little dinner for something. I'll tell her some more stuff that I did, and she's like, oh my goodness. And I don't know how I felt then, but even thinking about the oh my goodness now, I would question how true that is. Like, you weren't there. I was outside. I could go anywhere. Now, I guess you could say it's about the foundation you think you put in a person, but I was Israelite doing stuff like this. With a veil on. My face won't cover it, but with a veil in the skirt, I was trying to get on something, you know? And you can't, I mean, you cannot do that by yourself. That's just bottom line. You need two people in the home. If it ain't gonna be a man, you need another woman with the same values that you have to help raise your kids, because this separateness that we are saying that we need or that we don't care that exists, these kids are falling to the wayside.
Oh yeah, cracks.
Because
in the cracks.
of that. In the cracks,
In the cracks. Yeah. In the crack is where it's at. I loved it when my folks was mixed match on their conversation, or, you know, one was here and the other one was there and they didn't really know. I could tell one thing and tell another thing. If I could get in the crack, then that's where it was at.
I remember one time.
The separation, the division, the lack of communication. That was the space that I had to maneuver in. And if you got two parents and they don't have that, then you really got
I remember.
Something real quick, and then I want you to address this. As a father, I have had girls' parents ask if they chaperone dates for day one and Davion. And I would always tell these mothers no. And these are boys. And the mother would be like, dude, I mind telling them why. And I would be like, you're going to take them to Maggiano's and eat with them. Then you're going to watch the movie and set him in the back, and he's going to finger her or get his dick sucked. So you know, I would always ask these mothers, why the fuck do you care about your 7th, 8th grader, 9th grader having a love life and a relationship? That, and also how you, as a mother, try to not play the kids against me, but they can sneak and ask you something around me. Speak on that right there too.
The first thing was the parents, right?
Yeah, and all these little girls asking could they be on the day one go on dates.
I think, like, when I read that, I think what it is that women don't be having friends and they use their kids as friends. But this insecurity and stuff that we develop, I believe we develop it in like middle school. You get what I'm saying? So the mindset and how they see their kids as friends are the same type of friends you saw yourself having or not having in middle school. And you don't want this kid to be mad at you. And it's ridiculous because you don't even consider the parenting part. That's just my opinion based on conversations I've had with myself and others. As far as with the boys, you know, at first, real talk, I asked for a father for my kids. The problem was I had never seen no parenting with two people and no fathers. So I just thought Javon was just too extra strict about stuff. And when the kids would come to me, you know, with certain things, I also still was suffering and I ain't gonna say suffering, I cared about being friends with them, and so it was my way of what I thought was splitting the difference. Along the way, especially because he's not the dad, so you're trying to really juggle the both, but it was more detriment than helpful because then what happened was when I knew that I was incapable of making sound decisions for boys because I'm a woman, now they still coming to me and I gotta be like, go to him. So then they knowing it's a divide. And if I would have never did that, then they would have just went to him and they would have not had to never know that there was the divide that you speak of. You know, so again, and as I had talked about this with people,
when you get down,
okay,
I'm sorry.
when I have talked about this is why I like to share my life. Because as a woman who didn't know if I was making the right, or knew I was not making the right decisions and wanting the advice of someone that was older or that had been married long enough, nobody don't never want to say the real about marriage.
Oh, no.
You get what I'm
Absolutely
saying? So, like, then after time had went on, I was talking to a couple that had, their kids were together though, and she was like, girl, I do that all the time. So what I'm saying is that if I'd at least known that, I wouldn't have been making it about him being the stepdad versus the kids. I would have been like, yo, regardless, this is family. You get what I'm saying? Like the extra thing that I made a thing that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
That's a woman thing because women are doing it. But also, too, it would have been like, well, if that's a woman thing, it's a family thing. And kids gonna feel how they feel about the situation, and your kid gonna be mad.
Yeah.
And Javon used to always say that you can't, I don't care how good you try to be the kid, you could get them 7 things on their Christmas list, they'll be mad they didn't get the last 3.
Number 8. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so women definitely, you got a man around, you got to allow him to be the father to your children, regardless of how you feel about your personal situation. A lot of women won't let men be fathers because of how they feel about whatever is going on with them. And we didn't even have that as an issue. I just didn't realize how ill-equipped I was for what I asked for. Real talk. Only time I really got to see 2 people interacting is when I did go see my dad, and I would see him with my stepmom, but they won't problem solving when I was there on the weekend. Right. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know what that looked like. Yeah, I didn't know what that looked like. So women walking around saying they want to be a wife, they don't know what being a wife is. They don't know what being with a man and understanding.
And to what type of man.
But it ain't, I don't even think it's what type of man. I think some men just decide to tap out. But any man, is only place a man, especially a black man, can be free in himself is his home, is his castle. Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Oh, having a dad. And you was talking about how that vision not having that vision wasn't able to carry over into your adulthood and marriage. And so it immediately resonated with me. Having my dad, when I had my son, it was never really an inkling for me to get involved.
Oh, with your baby daddy and your son?
Exactly. A man and his son, after D could communicate well enough, that just takes off on its own and does its own thing. A man that absolutely knows how to nurture and lead and direct and deal with the emotions and feelings and communicate with his seed. So I didn't even feel the need to interject or intercede and be like, oh, mama bear my cub against his own daddy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to protect my son from his daddy, because that was his daddy, and he always knew him as his daddy, because I don't remember seeing my mom deal with my brothers in that way. You know, intimately, personally, like that was my dad. My dad was dealing with the boys. Willie, go deal with them boys. Frankie,
how
go
off
get
we
your
are?
daughter.
You see
You
how
know
off
what
we
I'm
are with a
saying?
woman
Yeah.
thinking that she should be the one to intercede in male business that she knows none of. First
At
of all,
all.
we can't keep one. How you gonna help your son be a man and you can't keep a man?
How you gonna help your son connive against a man?
Yeah.
How can you possibly think a man is being too hard on your son? When
I mean,
you
definitely
have
not rational.
no idea.
What it takes.
I mean,
to
it's
raise
definitely
a
not
man.
rational. I mean, it definitely is retarded. It's dumb as fuck. I mean, it's dumb as fuck for that to have been a thought. You know what I'm saying? But I thought it, and I did it, and was thinking I was maybe making them some.
The boy hate the daddy.
And the thing is, though, I didn't see that like that. But we so selfish as women. All I saw was, I don't have to be in the middle of some shit right now.
And you know what? That goes twofold, if I can interject, because I felt those same things. You know, we talk about that can't help it that we have as a woman. And so don't think for a minute I didn't have can't help it moments. But I can't credit myself for saying, oh, Lynn, you don't need to do that. That was an innate, instinctual. I did not sit down and create that concept, be like, okay, Lynn, you can be hands off with your son and his dad. It never occurred to me that I really needed to just be in the mix. Now, I would have those woman moments, but still my source would just be like, what I'm gonna do?
I mean, that's the thing.
Anyway, and then you had said something that was taking me to the next point, like we really just don't know, and it wasn't needed or necessary.
So if you a
And it
single
probably
mother,
was just a woman moment. You know what I'm saying? So my source was just like, be cool, let it go.
and so that's just. But I think that that's a great example, because the very thing that a woman says her child doesn't need is the very reason why you're single. Because you didn't
Don't
see it
have
most of the
one.
time.
Yeah.
Single mothers beget single. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Single girls, single mother girls, and boys that may
Maybe
have
single
bastard,
mothers.
bastard kids
I
or whatever.
want to speak on that. It makes a boy who's going to become a father not see value in being a man.
I can see
As
that.
a boy, when you grew up in a single household and you saw your mother get food stamps and welfare, or you saw your mother work 2 jobs, or you saw your mother be a strong woman, it makes you say, fuck my daddy, right? And you may hear your mother say, fuck your daddy. So when you get older, you don't see the value of a man in a house or a man in a situation, because you say to yourself, shit, I came all right and I ain't had no daddy. So when you and your girlfriend or your baby mama start beefing, it's the reason so many men can say, walk off and say, fuck that situation. That kid will be all right without me as the father.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
all right with just my mama.
Exactly.
You know that about how having a father made you just see having a father is just part of the fucking equation.
Yeah, despite however I felt about that situation, I had to reconcile and come to myself that that was all me. You know, like the baby's here, that's done, relationship, whatever that was. This is what it is now. Even though I'm opting to not to choose this man anymore. Granted, I had in so many ways enough to have his child. It just I couldn't part with the idea of him not being his daddy. Like, who else is gonna do it? Who else? Who? Like, this might not be the man for me. I have a choice in that. But this child that came here through us, by us, doesn't have a choice in the one thing that I can give him.
Speak on what you said about y'all made the baby in private and involving the white folks. Speak on that.
Oh, it just was crazy to me that, you know, I could have this relationship private of my family and friends and teammates and the government and anyone. But then once I had him and the child goes on paper, now you've got, you know, all of these government institutions that want to know who's the daddy and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, that didn't make sense to me that we didn't have to do all of this beforehand. Child support and whatnot to talk about and decide and figure out what we're going to do. You know, he got two parents and we're not together, so he's either going to be with me or with you. And whatever you do over there, I just have to trust that if I was willing to put my life in your hands when I was with you and I was willing to conceive and had even considered going on down the line, that, you know, me not being on that journey was just all in me. It wasn't anything that man did or what have you. I'm trying to, thank you. So yeah, that was just the way that was. For whatever reason, I just knew that was me removing myself from the situation, but it was never meant for my son to not be with his dad. So it was just a matter
You
of
weren't angry at him.
Yeah, and I was mad at it.
So women
and that was what y'all was talking about.
Yeah, because women don't understand. If you're angry at your baby dad, if you won't let your kids see your baby daddy, if you're talking about he a deadbeat and stuff, we know you're angry with him for not being with you. I was not angry with my kid's father. I know I dated a drug dealer. I knew that he wasn't guaranteed to be in my life, whether he wound up dead or in prison. So I still didn't want to take him down to child support. You get what I'm saying? I still hope that he did what he was supposed to do as a father. It's just that Javon was a good father. So, you know, and then when you got a man coming out of the streets and he ain't really got you don't really know how he raised nobody. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know. But anyway, though, if you can't communicate with your kid's father at all and you hate him, that means that you're bitter, not him. Nobody thinks it's him.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks it's him.
And in all my situations, breakups, baby daddy, ex-husband, it wasn't them. Even in my relationships, other ones, like, that was me. I've left or decided, you know, it wasn't for me anymore. Like, men are just much more loyal and committed, and they see long term and rationale, and they just got plans, and we just be having feelings. We have moments. They be having plans. We plan for our moments, and they have moments where they make plans. You know,
I want y'all to speak on one quick question as a man listening to this. It's very interesting because I see so many women that have brothers, cousins. Hey, when you suck that like that.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I just totally started.
I want you to speak on. I see so many men that have sisters, mothers, cousins, females in their family that know they ain't shit men, but the women don't ostracize these men. It's like a woman will let her brother be an ain't shit nigga. A woman will let her brother be her father, her cousin, her boyfriend. And I sit back and I wonder, I'm starting she don't see him as a deadbeat. I think women see that man as somebody who's been held away from his child.
Definitely.
Because I never see women say, fuck you cousin, fuck you brother, fuck you uncle, fuck you best friend, you don't take care of your kid. It's like there's almost an understanding when a man ain't in his child's life, the world understands the woman is keeping it apart. But nobody wants to admit this. What do y'all think about that?
I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
I think women as difficult. Again, because I come from the low life side of life, the low life side of life. I'm used to dealing with baby mama, baby daddy drama, and I was the woman like, yo, smack that bitch. She crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? It was always the woman doing stuff. The crazy part about it is because I didn't know that I was really interacting with a certain mindset of people, I didn't want to deal with a man that had kids. Because I'm thinking no man can control his baby mama. Because I'm dealing with crazy baby mamas. And now I realize that was just those group of people over there. Because even when you say cookouts or whatever, like when you really think about it, unless you go into around still those people, it ain't that many deadbeats showing up to the cookout. Because those men know how to control their women. Not that in that way. What I'm saying is that you got two parents that's communicating.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to the cookouts of the big homie and stuff like that, where they coming over there and he can't get his kids. So, but I definitely agree with you though.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that we know that it's the woman's fault.
Yeah, we absolutely have to admit that. Knowing it is one thing, but I think we need to admit that.
No,
Like,
I know for sure. Collectively, yeah, but
Yeah.
I do be seeing that. I realize a lot of people, if they ain't been nowhere else, they don't understand that world they living in is small. You get what I'm saying? So you already got a woman that's not even being rational about how they got together, why they not together. You know
Why
she not
they
going to think
can't.
she mad because she want to get with him because she with a new dude. Still mad and won't let him see his kids. But we just trying to tell him right now here that us and women who think like us, when we hear that, we know you scorned. We know you're not over him. We know that you're the difficult one, not him. Nobody sides with you for real, but because most women lie anyway, girl, you look good in that, and you don't, you know how we do? We'll just tell you that. But we don't want to just tell women these things anymore. We want to be honest about the realness of what we see and what we know and what we say behind y'all back when y'all leave out the room. We
She
think it's you.
mad. She mad.
Yeah.
That's it. She mad.
Exactly.
She mad. She mad.
She
bro.
mad.
Mad,
She
mad.
mad. Yeah. So you gotta have these daddies.
Gotta have it.
You have to have
And
these
we gotta
daddies.
be better at picking who we sleep with, who we
If you
choose
just
to
did
have our
that.
kids by. If you're gonna have the kids, choose better even who we're gonna date and select.
And
Like,
do you know
think
what?
about that. Like, who's thinking about parenting when you're dating? We not.
But-
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I know I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, well, no,
And
I
then-
wanted to marry everybody I dated, even when I was 12. You heartbroken by the 12-year-old boy who couldn't take care of himself. It's so ridiculous. Like, even in your most perfect world, he was not going to be able to marry you at all.
Yeah,
So
that-
to be sad about
game
that
right there.
and say, it's just so ridiculous.
Kids in a house, girl.
Yes, it's so ridiculous. I would like every woman that's watching, think about the man that you got an issue with. Think about your baby daddy that you won't let see your kids, and you tell me for real, if you holding this man accountable for something that happened when y'all both was too immature to even be able to find your way through it.
Yeah,
We still learning stuff now.
absolutely.
So one thing that came to me, and maybe we could talk about it, I don't know if next week, but in general, it made me think about parenting and how we making these kids without even thinking about parenting. And part of that reason for that foundation is you don't know when you're ovulating. Because who have sex with a stranger while they ovulating sure to get pregnant. So you don't know your body.
No. And you need better friends that'll keep you out of trouble and respect your boundaries. They know you got goals and your parents ain't gonna let you have nobody in the house. Cause that's what I was gonna say. I couldn't even have you but
Come go with me. Come see me.
I need you, 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 I need you. You're crazy, you're so amazing. You love me daily, you bring me to my knees. You drive me crazy, you're so amazing. You love me daily, you bring me to my knees. Never had met a man before that makes me feel secure, being vulnerable. I love your mind, you're sexual. You're not just fine, we're so compatible. I ain't never said just how I feel. Don't tell nobody. Spend that I meant won't keep it real. Cause I need you, 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 I need you.
I got a spot. I go a lot. Come go with me. Come see me.
I need you, 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 I need you. You drive me crazy, you're so amazing. You love me daily, you bring me to my knees. You drive me crazy, you're so amazing. You love me daily, you bring me to my knees.
All I'm saying is, that's some hard shit to have to tell a nigga. And I just spit it to you like real plain and simple and shit. So I hope you digging it.
I need you. Go tell a man you need him today. Tell your baby daddy you need him today.
Let's get him out.
and that was the whole point of that song.
Yeah.
I got what you need, boy, come fuck with me. You tryna smoke some weed, well I'm tryna soak these sheets. My body needs relief, and I think you got the key. So put me on my knees, and fuck me till I scream. Ooh, 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 I know you like that. Ooh, I'm coming right back, back to back. Ooh, to back, ooh, to back. You ain't had it like that. Ooh, oh shit. Ooh, ooh, we call it having fits. Ooh, ooh, oh shit. Ooh, ooh, I know you like it. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. I got what you want, boy, come beat it up and bring them golden gloves. I'm talking Magnum, cause my body need it, and I'm overheated. Now put me over, boy, and give it to me real hard. Ooh, ooh, get it from the body. Ooh, ooh, smack it on my ass. Ooh, ooh, I know you like it like that. Ooh, you gon' make me come back. Ooh, oh shit. Ooh, ooh, we call it having fits. Ooh, ooh, oh shit. Ooh, ooh, you ain't had it like this. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. You ain't never had no dick if you ain't never thrown a fit. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits on the dick, fits on the dick. I'ma throw fits thrown a fit. He ain't never had no dick if he ain't never thrown a fit. If I'm gonna fuck you, I suggest I let you know. I'm about to hop up on it and I'm gonna lose control.
He ain't never had no dick if he ain't never thrown a fit. He ain't never had no dick if he ain't never thrown a fit.
If I'm gonna fuck you, I suggest I let you know. I'm about to hop up on it and I'm gonna lose control.
He ain't never had no dick if he ain't never thrown a fit. He ain't never had no dick if he ain't never thrown a fit. Go throw you a fit, lady. It's a Sunday. Hey. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Next week, next Sunday, 5 p.m. See you then.